tonight. Can we all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very, very much. I hope you all got to take some of the handouts we have, and if you've seen the minutes, and I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes. And if you could just tell Julie your name and a second. Okay. Thank you. And Jean Marie, I'll turn the time over to you for the treasurer's report. Swallow. Come be on camera.
Macaroni and cheese. I know I checked my list. Okay. So there is a packet with the treasurer's report. You take a look at it. We only had bank interest for January, but at least we had that. And then our expenses were what we voted on last month, the check for the National Honor Society and the International Festival. Attached to it is also our interim financial report. So if you just take a look at it, and then if I could have a motion to accept. There we go. And a second. And there we go. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Awesome. Okay, Lillian. Turn the time over to Lillian for some Federation information.
I'm going to pass around the boosters. If anybody would like to donate $5, have their name put in the Federation yearbook for the kids for the scholarship luncheon.
Lillian, over here.
On the table over there is the parent-teacher conference survey. If you could fill it out, please. And please, please, please put alternatives to college, because that's always a good course to have. And you can return that to me. March 19th, the UFT is getting a bus for Lobby Day. If anybody is interested, I know the flyers were over there. If anybody would like to take one. On the island, Federation. You want your voices heard. I know a lot of topics are going around lately that people want their voices heard. Legislative Forum is on Friday, March 16th, 9 a.m. at Petrides in Building A in the Borough President's Hall of Science. If you want to be heard, please come to this meeting. It's very, very good. We have all of representations from Staten Island. Generally, they send from the city. Sometimes they don't. And one other thing, from the attendance meeting today, a lot of people are saying they're not getting robocalls. You don't get their calls when their children are absent. The robocalls that come from Mrs. DeAngelis, the PTA, the parent coordinator, and the robocalls for your absentees are two different systems. The best thing to do is to call the aides from your SLC and have your cell phone numbers put on them. Because sometimes they're going to your home, you're not getting them because your kids are erasing them. So they ask that if you could just check, make sure all of your phone numbers are right in the systems.
See, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, as Lillian said, we're going to pass around an envelope, and if you have $5, we'll collect next month as well. But every year, the Staten Island Federation of PTAs gives every high school senior, they're chosen by an essay they write, a scholarship for $2,000. So this is to help support that.
Yes.
And right. And now the PTA also has an opportunity to read these essays that the children have written. So I need one volunteer. I already have two. If anyone is free, March 6th at 10:30 to help Lillian and Karen with the reading of the essays. I have a senior, so I cannot read, unfortunately, even though he didn't even do one. But he said, yeah, I handed it in. I go, you're lying. He goes, yeah. I went to the room. She wasn't there. I'm like, why'd you lie to me? Anyway, that's kids for you. But If anyone is available and would like to do that, please see me. It's a Tuesday, and it would be right here at the school. And it would probably take maybe an hour and a half. And it's actually a really fun experience. So if anyone has interest, please see me. Also, we have papers out, The Willingness to Serve, for the 2018-2019 year, the executive board. There are 3 of us that are graduating out, Julie, Laura, and myself. So we have open positions, and we would love if anybody has an interest in serving on the PTA. We would love it. So if you have an interest, please fill that out. Karen McQueen, Karen, raise your hand. Karen is on the nominating committee along with Laura and Rachel. But Rachel's not here tonight. And if we need another person or 2 people, if anyone would like to volunteer to be on the nominating committee, please see me or see Karen. Okay? Awesome. Thank you so much. Okie doke. And elections will be on May 16th. I'm going to turn the time over to Mrs. DeAngelis. Oh, to Danielle first? Okay. And then to Mrs. DeAngelis, and then we will have our speaker. Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. I was in mid-bite. I apologize. Okay. Just a few reminders. March 8th and March 9th are our parent-teacher conferences. March 8th is from 5 to 8 p.m. and March 9th is from 12:30 to 2:30. Okay, April 27th, if you want to mark your calendars, is going to be our next paint night. So it's a lot of fun. The tickets will go on sale probably be the beginning of April. They're $25 a ticket. And what we're going to paint will be released soon. We'll share that all through PeoplePath, on our website, social media. April 19th is our PGC Family Night. So our Peer Group Connection is a wonderful group here that's led by our students. And this is going to be a family night, and the student leaders are actually hosting it. And it's absolutely wonderful.
And lots and lots of food.
Yes, and lots of food. And you're all invited. So it's not just the parents of the peer groups. It's all of the parents throughout New Dorp High School. So you should really come out, grab a bite, see the great work that these children are doing. It's really wonderful to see. And it's also very moving. It's very emotional. Okay. It's that time again, guys. Parent surveys. I feel like I have to do a song in dance.
Yeah.
It is so important to us. Please, 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 please fill out your parent surveys. They are going to be in the mail soon. They come in this bright green envelope. You can't miss them. If filling them out by hand is not your thing, come see me after the meeting. I have an online access code. You guys can do it right away, 1, 2, 3, over the internet. You'll be entered to win into a raffle. Your child will be raffle. And the great thing, what you guys get is we're having a parent social. So next month's PTA, we're having radio bingo. Has anyone gone to one of these? Yes, it's amazing. It's so much fun. It's basically bingo and name that tune. We're going to have a DJ here. It's going to be a party. We're going to have dinner. There's going to be prizes. And the best part is it's free for you guys. And all you have to do is make sure that you fill out your parent survey. So to thank you, this is what we're doing. We appreciate your support. And we really want you to come down and have a good night. And obviously both guardians, both parents, whoever you like, they're invited. So go onto our website. You'll find this flyer. It looks just like this. You click the link. It's an easy Google form. All you need to do is put in your name that you did the parent survey. You can do it now. We trust that you'll do the parent survey when you get it. And how many people are going to come in your party, if it's you and your significant other or the other guardian, whoever is responsible for the children. Okay? Is there any questions for me? Yes.
Is there something we have, like last year, you had to print out something? It was such a
Sure.
good idea.
So if I know it's a pain in the butt. If you're handing it in,
Because it either got lost and then they told me she didn't hand it in, and then the younger one didn't hand it in.
right, between Isabella and Tricia, right?
Between
Okay.
Isabella and Tricia was.
Okay.
If you have 2 in the school and it's just like family,
Mhm.
knock it off. Just it's supposed to be one hands it in, she handed it in.
Yeah.
Then the other one, I got complaints that the other one didn't hand it in. So they did.
So whoever hands it in, if you have
Right.
2 children, when they come to me and they say, here's my parent survey, let them know, like for you, I know, but tell me that you have a brother or sister in the school so I can peel their name off as well.
Right.
So that's what's happening. So we might have missed it that time and we
Well,
just
no, I
clicked
did
one.
it online.
Okay,
And
it's a
then-
confirmation code
Yes.
that you need to print out.
But
That
now, see, I didn't get a confirmation because I did it already. I didn't get a confirmation code. I just got an email that said you did it.
you did it this year?
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
get us-
Okay.
Give us an email that you did it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Then that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, but you should have needed a code for me.
You can look it up.
Okay.
It lets you. You can
Oh,
go
in your
on there,
family
it lets
access
you look
account.
the access-
Okay.
the
Your
code
family.
up. If you put it in Rudolph High School, it gives you the code.
It gives you the code.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but if anyone needs it, you come to me, I'll give it to you. Yes.
So now if you do the paper one and
Yeah.
you have 2 kids, a freshman and a senior, what do you do?
You choose one, whoever's more responsible, to come see me.
Then
come
that's
see
right.
me.
In the system.
They're linked, yeah, and both of them, they just say, hey, I have a sibling, and they both go into my raffle. Any other, yes.
I got an email
Yep.
about it. Is that the same thing? Like, I mean, or is that is that my teacher? I got an email saying complete your survey online today.
You're a teacher as well?
Yeah.
When you click it, you'll know by the questions.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
if it's asking you as a parent or as a staff.
There you go.
Give your principal a good rating.
And can I just add, so Inside Schools called today, and I don't know if you know Inside Schools, I know a lot of you go to the website to get the information on Inside Schools. Well, my first year, I got here on March 1st of 1999, and I have to tell you that they wrote the most horrendous thing about this school. I just cried. I wanted to quit, go back to Brooklyn where I came from, and not do this job. We are now called the staff pick of Inside Schools as of yesterday. So on our Inside Schools page, it says staff pick, which is the highest rating they give to a school. And what she did say to me on the phone was that because our staff had 100% completion of the surveys, which is unheard of in a lot of high schools, and that they seem to be happy and they trust the administration and they know the goals of the school and they work hard for the kids, at least in the questions and how they aggregate the information. That was very telling about us. So I have to ask again, I don't beg a lot, but I'm going to beg that parents please take the time to do it. I know it's annoying because when Andrew was in PS50, it was the same thing. So I'm just asking you please to complete it. It just says something in volumes about the school when the parents take the time to do that. It does. Okay, especially during this articulation time of the year for incoming parents. So we just appreciate that. Thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go fast because we do have a presenter tonight. So I wrote to the staff to inform the kids. We had, as of Monday, 24 days minus 3. It's 21 days till the next vacation of 10 days. And then when we get back, we have only 39 school days. You know, then you're talking trips and prom, you know, getting ready for prom and all these other things that come up, and it dwindles down fast. So I just reminded staff to remind students that if you add the 21 as of today and the 39, there's not a lot of days before finals. So, you know, we're going to buckle down and do what we have to do. You will get, I believe, a sheet, right, Danielle, that has the new tutoring, homework help, we're doing
academic support.
crash course, crunch time courses. We're doing Saturday tutoring. We're doing proactive tutoring. So most of the tutoring is to prepare kids for the regions. Those that are retaking it are going to that too. But what we've decided to do is from each SLC is identify students who are really struggling at this time. And if they were to take the region now, they would probably fail it. So we're trying to be proactive with individual groups of only 5 kids to 1 teacher ahead of time to prepare them for the curriculum straight through to the end. So that's what's happening now. We devoted a lot of time and money to that. So I just want you to be aware of it. With PM school is going on in the afternoons. We have evening school going on right now upstairs. We have Saturday school. We're doing all we can. We have online courses right now only for seniors who still need courses to graduate on time. We're targeted for an 82% graduation rate with this class, 2018. which will be the highest since I've been here. And when you think about where we were at 52.7 and then 54.2, this is a long cry from there. So we want to just keep on that. You going? Yes.
My son's gonna be a father and he's in rent. Now, just in general, even when we have a sing and whatnot, why wouldn't we have these tutoring sessions start, have the rehearsals and things start a half hour later so kids that want to go to tutoring can benefit from the tutoring?
Well, I can talk to the directors and everything about that. What I will tell you is that we really spread out the tutoring. It's PM, it's Saturday, it's all over the place, so that they should be able to get to something. And then they shouldn't be they usually don't practice every day until
Saturday's not going to happen here. Learn to be that right.
Oh, okay.
That's not happening.
Okay.
Unless I drag them here physically, we're gonna club them overhead.
All right.
But the after school is really convenient, but
So
it would just mean like a half hour difference for the rehearsals. Like, why would they just start at 3:30 as opposed to 2:20?
well, I think a lot of it has to do with supervision of the students. So while the other students are sitting around that aren't going to tutoring or don't have to go to tutoring, they sit around and is always issues.
Security can only be hit to a certain time.
Right. So I don't know. Let me talk to them and see where we're at. And let's see if we can make sure that at least the days don't conflict. We could try. All right. I know. No, I know.
Not just focus on.
I agree. But there should be some kind of balance. Let's see what we could do. And maybe he has to sacrifice Saturdays if he's not doing it in the afternoon. I know that's a difficult task, but you want to perform, then you do this on Saturday. I don't know. So you'll get the full schedule so you could go from there. You'll be receiving a letter from me soon about March 13th and March 21st. So let me just give you an overview. March 13th is PSAT day. So the 10th graders will take the PSAT fully paid for by the Department of Education. They will arrive at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they will take the test probably from 8 o'clock until about 11:30 it goes, depending on when they get the bubble sheets done and all that. But it's approximately 2 hours and 50-minute test, give and take a few breaks here and there. So they should be done. The other students are coming in at 10 o'clock, and they will go periods 3 through 7. What I'm telling you now is that I'm doing raffles because I want kids here. They should be here. They should not take it. We don't have a lot of days left, so I need them to be here. That's why I'm not canceling the day of school. And we will raffle off at least 1 prom ticket or 2 prom tickets. I have to talk to Miss Murphy for the seniors on that day. So if you're in attendance, you go into the raffle, and that's a big chunk of money. So if you could get the seniors here, that's great. The underclassmen, I believe freshmen, we're raffling off their freshman trip. So if you already paid for it, you'll get reimbursed for it. And for the juniors, we'll be raffling off either gift cards or money towards their senior dues for the following year. So I'm trying to motivate the parents and the students to get the kids here. That's the 13th of March, and that's all 10th graders will be taking a test. Yeah.
What time are the kids coming in?
10 o'clock.
Oh, because last month you said 11. That's why.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. We got turned down for 11. 10 o'clock. On the 21st, the 11th graders or juniors will be taking the SAT for free, fully paid for by the DOE, which means the 9th, 10th, and 12th graders will report at 10 o'clock on that day as well. Okay, and the same thing. We'll raffle off another prom ticket, more senior dues, or whatever. All right, you'll get it fully in writing. It'll go out in the next 2-3 days, so you'll get it in time so you know. So that's the 13th and the 21st, and I'll make a million phone calls to remind you.
Yeah.
Right, so they denied us an 11 o'clock start on the 13th, and they denied us the release and the day off on the 21st. They said that because we had the extra snow day, they won't give it to us. And they might have given it to us if it was after April 1st, because then they kind of anticipate no more snow. But still at this point, like, look at tomorrow, it's going to storm again. You know what I mean? So they don't know. So they won't give it to us. I got denied. We did get the SBO pass for the parent engagement, the last parent engagement, which will be 1 hour, 5 to 6, parent-teacher conferences if you have to see a teacher. And beginning at 6 will be SLC awards for underclassmen. I believe it's like May 9th, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
So the SAT, the juniors will then on through the rest of the day.
Okay.
Instead of going home. And the ones that take the SAT.
We're on there. No, so they might not end until 12:31,
Well, okay.
and then they may
So
be
their focus is the SAT.
they
Yes.
only the SAT.
What
Right.
about the sophomore?
And then they might want to eat, and then it'll be 2 o'clock. 2:20.
So the day that the kids have the test, they have to be in at 8.
Yes,
The day that the kids don't have the test, but other kids have the test, they come in at 10.
10.
And if there's a school bus issue, I should.
School bus issue, I'll work out everything with Ms. Cunningham, and she'll work on the school bus issue, okay? What I will tell you is that we're gonna make the kids enter in 3 different places. So the freshmen will enter here and go to the auditorium. The seniors will enter into the North Gym downstairs. They'll come around the back. That way we can get the attendance done efficiently. And then they'll start classes when the bell rings. They'll give us 20 minutes to have like a homeroom with the whole grade. And then any announcements we have to make to the whole grade, that helps too.
Same thing after the PSAT, the kids after the test.
I can't say that. You could say that. They might be hungry. You might want them to go home. They have to go to classes.
Okay.
Okay. Parent surveys we covered. Senior parents, if your child does not pass the ELA and the math CUNY entrance exam, please see me, contact the college office. We can get you help over the summer. And with that, especially if your child is going to CSI, if they go into this program, which involves like a tutoring center and stuff, they will be part of this program that then walks them through registration so they don't get shut out of classes. They also get a free parking pass if they drive there, or a Metro card if they're taking public transportation. So if your child is in danger of having to take non-credited courses of which you're paying for, please see me. Don't let that go by, okay? There's a program there that can help you, and I'll explain it. Remember, PSAL spring sports season starts on 3/1. Huge numbers of kids play spring sports. I just want them to understand spring sports, academics, 50-something days of school. We need them to balance the both, please. Coming up is International Festival. I know a lot of kids have been here rehearsing. It's going to be a great night. Again, a lot of food in here from all different cultures. So I hope that people will come when we advertise it. Black Box Theater is coming up, and the spring show is Rent this year. I hope that you'll come out and see it. I heard that the voices in Rent are absolutely magnificent. I have never been told that in 19 years of being a principal. So I have to tell you, you have to come out and see it. I heard it's going to be phenomenal. I got chills already. Today we had a wonderful, wonderful day for the Corporate Center females. All the females were invited to a panel discussion. And on the panel were all successful women that have careers or leadership positions in technology. It was amazing. The girls had tears in their eyes. They were hugging. It was just wonderful. So I just had to tell you that. Graduation, for those who didn't hear, obviously the field is under construction, so we will be having it at Farrell. We got permission. We're there. The Monsignor has been absolutely wonderful, and we'll be able to fit there. So I feel much better. You'll get the same 4 that you get every year. All right. If you need more than that, you'll go to the will call window that morning. And I told you about the SBO for parent engagement night. I don't think there was anything else. Are there any questions for me?
Are there any plans about how to make sure that
Yes.
safe?
Right. Well, I wanted to just do business stuff, and then I'm going to talk about that. All right. So you know that this is the big thing. It's in the news today. Wagner was under a lockdown today, and then it went to a soft lockdown. Till the end of the day, there was an issue at McKee. There's issues in 40 other schools across the city over the last couple of days. We're going to do our best. And I don't know much more to tell you than that. We are very vigilant. And I'm sure the parents that are sitting here that are on the leadership team know that the difference between Newdorp and other schools, and I'm not saying every school, and I'm certainly not putting other schools down, is that we really know our kids. So we're aware of those kids, like this kid who was troubled, who was alienated, who had issues with the law. We know all of that. I spend, and I don't mean I mean Newdorp High School, we spend a huge amount of our budget on guidance counselors, social workers, and psychologists. We have gone through every single solitary student with their guidance counselors and teachers and have indicated on a spreadsheet that we use as a staff the top priority or issues that child is facing, whether it be family issues, financial issues, peer issues, drug issues, gender identity issues, religious or cultural background issues. Whatever it is, we've identified it. And so we are doing small groups, and we're inviting students in, and they're actually doing the small groups in my conference room as well, so that the kids see that we value it and that they're actually like right next to the principal's office. We're doing circles up in the cafeteria during that time, and we're trying to be more proactive. Listen, I was very disappointed to see that 800 kids stayed home on that Friday. And I get it. I'm a parent of a freshman. I get it. He walked in and said, "Ma, look what's on Snapchat." So I saw it. And yes, was he nervous that it was my school and I was still going to work the next day? Absolutely. But let's be honest. Let's use some common sense. If someone is going to come shoot up a school, they're not putting it on Snapchat the night before. They're not. There are other things that we need to be told about if people have that kind of Facebook page where there's guns and this and that. We have to know that. But they are not going to say, because they know that's a trigger. That day, that Friday, was probably the safest day you ever had at Newdorp High School. There were a million police in and out, walking around, undercover people walking around. We didn't have metal detectors because I wasn't told about this until like 8:30 at night. I think he came in like 8:30, and then I got a few other calls and emails from people. But we had people at the doors, and we were looking at bags, and we were looking at kids, and we have that instinct. It's a long time we're here. And so, yes, I cannot guarantee that every kid will be safe, and I'll never stand here. But I'm going to tell you, I'm in the building too, and I don't want to lose my life. I have a family. I have children. But I will tell you that we will do our best, and we will do our best to be proactive. My message on Monday when we did our moment of silence was not about let's battle the politics around the guns. I have my own views. I will never force them on anybody else. But let's really look at what could we do. And I said 17 people lost their life. We did a moment of silence for 17 people. But in addition to that, I asked the students and the staff, what could you do? What's your 17? Can you make friends with 17 kids? Could you be kind to 17 people? Can you find 17 kids who sit alone in this cafeteria, have no friends? Can you sit with them? Like, what can you do so that that kid doesn't feel the way they feel? And so that's what we're trying to do. We're going to have random scanning now. It's going to happen because I've already put in a request for it. If I see that something is happening, we're going to do a bag check like we do on Halloween, because that was one of the feedback from the parents. They were like, how come bags weren't checked? So I'm going to check them next time. If I get one of these nights again where all this social media stuff, we will be at the doors like we are on Halloween and go through every single bag. That's all I could guarantee. You know, I can guarantee that we'll be as vigilant and we'll be as on top of things as we possibly can. All right. And again, keep your ears open. If you can look through their accounts, if you can check into things and see, do it. You've heard presenters up here say, be aware what's going on in technology. You have to do that. Okay? Thank you. I know it's not easy. I'm with you. I'm one of you. I'm one of you. He's here.
I know that the same day that is part of
It was the day before, actually. It was, right. Right.
My daughter had her
Right.
and she told me that she was going to rehearsal, but then I later found out that she didn't have rehearsal, and I asked why, and she told me.
Well, I sent a message out right away.
It was about 5:30 when I got the text from the system.
Right. So let me tell you what happened. So they hit a main. I'm here all these years. It never ever happened. A main in the street was struck, and we were out of we had no power, and neither did ShopRite. But what also happens is our whole system went down. So including our school messenger that sends out the voicemails to all of you, because in order for school messenger to work, it has to, like I do it from home when I call all of you, I'm home when I do that, or sometimes in my car or whatever, I could do it. But it calls into the phones here and sends the messages out to here, computerized. When the system was down, I couldn't send an immediate message. We didn't have a PA system, so I couldn't tell students, all right, everyone, could we just get to the lobby? So every assistant principal was here. Everyone had a duty. Everyone went to separate classes. We emptied the building. We did sweeps. We spoke to the kids. We dismissed them. And we had to send home a text at some point because that's the only thing that worked. And we could do that from our phone outside. We had to step outside the building because we don't always have service in here. But again, unexpected. It lasts an hour or two. That's why the first message said that we'll contact you again later and let you know if, you know, we didn't know if we'd had to go to another school in the morning. We didn't know how long it would be. And 50% of our school is really dark if you don't have windows in the classrooms.
And the reason why is because the incident in Florida that took place, you know, the young man pulled a fire alarm. So in the instance of a blackout, not knowing what would have caused it, or you know,
Well, we knew what caused it right away.
Okay.
We were told. We were on the phone with the borough president and Steve Mattio's office in like 5 minutes, if less than that. We were told what it was. So.
Okay, so I understand that the system was down, so you had to actually step out. But the first message that I got from the official text system, that you guys used around 5:20.
Yeah, all I can tell you is that we do the best we can under a situation. You know, my first concern was not to stop and text all of you. My first concern was to get the kids that were inside class. Understand, I have 110 Hungerford students in this building. They're all in inside rooms. Those rooms went black and all the blowers went out. So now you had complete silence and complete darkness. We had to move those kids without elevators off of the third floor, off of the second floor, get them down to the basement. And we couldn't even get them to go home because they all had yellow buses showing up for their after school activity. I wanted to make sure that they were safe. So we had 2 or 3 assistant principals on that. We had play rehearsal, we had international rehearsal, we had PM school, we had tutoring, and we had homework help, all going on at the same time. So it was about just getting everyone. I was thankful it happened after dismissal because we can handle the few hundred that were in the building. It would have been a little more chaotic if there was 2,800 in the building at that point of the day. So again, I apologize. I'll keep that in mind. If something happens, we'll try to get word out faster. You know, I try my best, even when things are going on New York Lane, even if it's 8 o'clock in the morning, I try to send out a message so you guys know what's going on. You know, sometimes there are other priorities happening, and I don't mean to disregard your feelings as a parent, but that's what we have to do.
But I appreciate it. I do understand that it's right and
We do. We really do. So, all right. I don't want to take up any time. So for those of you who don't know, we hired a company called Elevate Education. We have an instructor here today with you. Today, we invited 9th and 10th graders to participate in a pilot program. And you could say, why not 11th and 12th? Because the 9th and 10th are with us for a longer time. So there's 80 seats. Letters went out to all the 9th and 10th grade parents. We're doing 3 sections, 80 students over 4 weeks. They had to commit to 4 Saturdays, 8 to 12, for the next 4 weeks. We did our staff professional development yesterday. It went extremely, extremely well. I have a stack of feedback, and staff don't normally like professional development. They sit there unengaged and not happy. They were happy yesterday. They really were. So this is the parent workshop tonight, so you can see, and I'm sure you're going to be able to take away some of the information that will be shared with you tonight, and it might really help you to help your child going forward. And I thank you for being here, and I'm sorry that we made you wait through 45 minutes.
I must say good evening, everyone. Sitting here for the last 40 minutes brought me back to my high school years, and also realized the school has an amazing culture. And so congratulations on that. 82% of graduation projected. That's awesome. It speaks to the amazing work that parents, PTA, administration is doing. With that said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Although it seems to be like a ladies' night with a few gentlemen in the room, and those tuning in. I've always wanted to be a YouTube celebrity, so now's my chance. So my name is Tabel, also pronounced as Tabel culturally. Now I'm a facilitator of workshops for. I'm one of the presenters for Elevate. I like to say I have the golden trifecta. I not only work with the students, I also get to be here today, work with parents, and also staff and administration, which is awesome. I love what I do each and every day. And hopefully you'll understand why Newdorp has really partnered up with Elevate. And it's just a nice, I want to give you an introduction as to who we are as an organization, why we've been chosen to really work with your 9th and 10th graders. And again, if you are a parent of a junior and senior, hopefully that's okay. You'll get something out of this today. Be like, hey, I like this. I really want to, see what we're all about. So I'd like to just briefly walk you through Elevate's history. I'm sorry, I don't want to get too close or too far. Who we are as an organization, and then the workshops that we'll be running for the next 4 Saturdays. I'm actually really excited. I'll be here on Saturday at 9 a.m., probably earlier. So hopefully you'll see. Now, just want to quickly walk you through our history. We were founded in 2001 in Australia. Now, we are a study skills company. Our goal is to come in and introduce different study skills that in turn into study habits, as we are creatures of habits, but in order to turn a skill into a habit, you need that repetition. You need to use that skill. And that's why it's great that we're in the classrooms, but ultimately a lot of the studying is at the home. And you as a parent have a really big role to set up your child with that study environment. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, Elevate had a specific focus, though, on why do top students yield top results. Now, I know it sounds weird, but we might be drawn to suspicions. It's my kid works hard. My kid is really smart. But Elevate really sought out to answer that question. Now, it started off with research of 1,800 students from Australia. Now, the cool thing is we're not only in Australia, we're in South Africa, not just the country, but the region of South Africa, where we partner up with over 50% of schools in Australia. We're in the UK, Singapore, and now we're in the beautiful United States of America. It's really exciting. Now, but the research started in Australia with 1,800 students trying to figure out what they were doing. So through 6 months of statistical surveys, students of diverse backgrounds were considered a part of the step 1, the quantitative phase, right? So throughout the 6 months, students were given constant surveys asking a lot of different questions like, hey, do you study? How many hours? Do you take notes? All that good stuff, right? Do you set goals? So that's kind of like if this, auditorium was, cafeteria was dark, you maybe like turn on one light, you're able to see somewhat what's in the room. But then phase 2, which is considered the qualitative phase, so sorry, that should not look like that, should be a 400, but we selected the top 400 students, and it's considered the qualitative phase, the what, the how. So we were able to see what students were doing, but we weren't able to answer how exactly were they doing it. So we selected the top 400 students into our step 2 of the qualitative, and we started asking through interview format. Sat them down, one-on-ones, two-on-ones. Some lasted up to 4-hour interviews. Of course, they had water and snacks. But just really asking questions like, hey, things that maybe you don't even think about, like how do you sit when you study? How do you format your notes? Why do you take notes this way? So we even said with the notebooks, opened it up. Now through there, these 2 steps, we started to identify a lot of patterns, a lot of trends from top performing students and the average to low performing students. And from there, we were able to identify what we consider the 13 key study skills. right? Some are more abstract than others. Now, I don't want to bore you, and I don't even have too much time to walk you through every single skill. But what I will say is these skills, one, will be introduced in all of the workshops that the 9th and 10th graders will be a part of on our Saturdays. We're going to cover throughout the 4 all of these skills. And ultimately, we're able to identify that this is really what can drive success. Many parents that might say, oh, my child's, it's because my kid is really smart, has high IQ. That's not always true, right? Again, all of our workshops come from here. But just fun fact, all of our presenters tend to be college or recently college graduates, graduate students. Now, we see the relatability factor is so key. We have some of our presenters are utilizing these skills or have utilized these skills, and they come in and talk about these with the students. So we've really seen that relatability factor be really strong inside the classrooms. So before going into just a couple of the skills that we'll discuss, I want to hear your questions, if you have them, regarding like study skills, like how your child might be studying, what they might be doing that might like is a little concern of a flag there. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So my daughter always studies with computers.
And we're going to be talking about that. Absolutely. Technology. Just by a show of hands, can anybody agree that sometimes technology plays a huge factor in study habits? 100%. Anyone else? Any other concerns, comments? Yes, ma'am.
My daughter sits in a classroom and just absorbs, but tell her to open a book at home and she just has a 96 average and she just has to sit in a classroom.
Okay.
And it frustrates me.
I was the same way.
And it just
That's how they
frustrates
learn.
me
That's how they learn.
because I tell her if you just apply a little bit more at home, what would you be? And she's like, I don't
Understood.
need to.
Okay, so for those that are here in terms of like in the classroom, she sits there and absorbs, but back at home, she doesn't necessarily open the book or begin to study. She doesn't need to, she thinks. Okay, perfect. All right. Anybody else can like attest to that? Does anybody have that issue or? Okay. All right.
I am that issue.
Any other concerns or questions? Comments? Yes, ma'am. Oh, perfect. So one of our workshops actually discusses all about that on close reading and like how to set themselves up for that to actually be reading, right? Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. So I'll break it down. How about at the end, we can have a little conversation because my goal at the end, you'll be convinced, you'll be like, this is going to be the best thing for you, hopefully. Now, how about a question? I know spring season is coming around, right? Sports. Now, I was a huge baseball player, and I know that balance, and I know, President Angela, you alluded to that. But can we agree sometimes time management can be an issue for our students? Yes, 100%, right? Even for adults, yes, we can all agree, right? So we'll discuss that as well. In fact, I actually want to open up with that workshop. It's not going to be the first workshop they're going to be exposed to, but for you, because in my opinion, a child's time management skills is really needed, not just to succeed in high school, but in college, especially when they don't have that much. No one's necessarily fully controlling their time where they can kind of set up their schedule themselves and that kind of stuff, and obviously in adulthood. So I want to talk about that because if I'm not mistaken, the third Saturday, we'll be discussing, no, second Saturday, I'm sorry, time management and its importance. Now, within that workshop, we'll be discussing specifically and creating a study timetable. Now, one of the things when we discuss with students, and I'll ask, like, hey, who here has ever created like a study timetable, like a little calendar? Many students will raise their hand, right? Now, what we've noticed that the average or the, lower performing student, the first thing they'll do is start eliminating things. Oh, I probably shouldn't watch TV anymore. Let me plug in study there. Oh, you know what? Can't play video games anymore. Now, like Fortnite is like the huge thing. Can't play that anymore. Or like, oh, maybe I should stop doing this and that. Now, what we have noticed, now the problem with that is, right, it's like those people that get a gym membership in like January. So maybe they'll go for the first 2 weeks, but after that, you'll never see them again. Yeah, some of us are guilty of that, right? No, I'm just kidding. But that's the problem. Same thing when a study timetable. A lot of students, they start eliminating certain things and now start plugging in study. That's unrealistic. It's not sustainable. It'll last a week or two, and then they'll crumble that little paper up, throw it in the garbage, and then they'll go back to their routine. Now, we're in the business of creating new habits. Now, what we've noticed and identified is that top performing students, what they do, they still have the things that they love. One thing I always say in the classroom, like, hey, there's things in life you want to do, but there's things in life you also have to do. Make sure you're including the things you have to do in order to do the things you want to do. Now, what we've noticed, though, is that our top performing students, they first plug in the non-study activities and they work study around that. And I want to show you what that looks like because the students will be you're agreeing with me already, nodding, yeah. So we're going to talk about that, right? Every student's going to have this. Exactly. So every student in our workshop is going to have a timetable. Now we'll go in depth, a lot of more different skills, but I think this is one of the key essential ones in this workshop, where the first thing say, let's plug in the non-study activities. So we can all agree, yeah, you're in school. So we'll plug in school, right? The next thing we'll ask, like, hey, who plays a sport? Many students play sports. So in this case, okay, plug in your practice time, plug in your games, like usually what that would look like. Then, of course, hobbies, extracurricular activities, and social life. Plug that in. You hang out with your friends, you used to go to the movies, you hang out with your family, all that good stuff. Plug that in. TV, you watch your shows on Netflix, of course, maybe. Now the popular ones, I know, like The Flash is huge and like all these other shows that I'm like catching up on and all that. But nonetheless, plug that in first. Now, the second thing you do, once you've identified, here are the things that I like to do, so what I want to do, these are all here. Now we work study around that. We notice some gaps, right? We see some holes, empty spots there. Great. So let's plug in some study time. Now, first thing we do is say, hey, let's identify at least 1 hour a day where you could do some type of study, some type of review, right? Some reading, something. And then if you need that second box, we call it the bonus box, plug that in as well. Now, a lot of students are preparing for finals coming up, APs, big projects. Something like this is going to help them really set them up for success. Start creating that habit. Now, one thing that I do during the workshop, I actually just stop students before even giving them the instruction to start plugging in the study time. I just ask them, hey, who here has already plugged in study? Be surprised how many. And I love seeing that because a lot of students will raise their hands. And that's great. That means that study is already a part of their routine. They've embedded that as part of their habits. And they've identified, okay, usually at this time. But now the goal is that leaving that workshop, they start really thinking about how they start managing their time. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, that would be, we're going to include that. Study / homework / reading / review. All that good stuff. I'm sorry. No, 100%. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 100%. It's just like for the box, study, review, homework, something academic is what I'm talking about, an academic focus. But you're right. Obviously, homework is huge. So that's what we do within that workshop. And we discuss in terms of how to break down a project, setting themselves up for success, mapping things out, setting some goals and attaching those deadlines. But that's just like the general gist of it. So students on the second Saturday of the month, they should be coming back with this. And I love the high school students, especially because that's when like time really starts becoming an issue. And yeah, so hopefully they'll see the real benefit of this workshop. Now, I don't want to go too technical things, but this actually at the end of the day can allow more time for study because students aren't like double dipping. Some people try to like do study while they're watching Netflix. Something like that is more, hey, let's set up that time and find that balance, right? You're more focused on study. And here it says better relationship with a child, specifically, though, when it comes to studying, right? Now, one thing that I also add, just to tell me that sometimes parents, we might not necessarily be aware of like that we might be of detriment to our child's study habits. Now, the reason why I say that many times, let's say your child has identified that on Mondays through Wednesdays, I don't know, let's say 7 to 8, I want to study. But then we have the music blasting from 7 to 8, or we have the TV on, we have the neighbors over, we're having a big party and all of that. When your child has decided that during that time is when I want to study. So I think after this workshop, it's just a really good conversation to have that what's more realistic within the household to study. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Great. So that's one of the workshops. Now, here's the thing. I just want to raise a hand. Parents sometimes see their children be distracted with like social media or something while they're doing homework or studying. I see a lot of nodding heads. This website here is just one of the websites that has it. Now, a lot of the students, when they're in this room, hate me for this one, but this is a website called getcoldturkey.com where you can actually, if your child says, you know what, Monday through Thursdays, I want to study from 7 to 8. Guess what? You can go into that website. You can block them out of specific sites from certain times. Let's say you've decided 7 to 8. Guess what? From 7 to 8, you cannot go into that website.
That's just for their laptops?
No, and cell phones as well. Yeah. And cell phones too, yeah.
And iPad?
And iPad, all that good stuff. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, you just need their like specific, it's a conversation to have with them. You can't just do it on your own because I think you need some of their access login. But here's the thing, is to have a conversation with them and understand, hey, look, at this time, if you're going to be studying, let's be honest with ourselves. Let's have that, let's self-regulate ourselves a bit. Now, something like that. And guess what? 801, once 801 hits, they have back full-on access to that. So that's like a really useful website that a lot of our parents have really liked to use. GetColdTurkey.com. Yeah. Yeah, we're good? We're down? All right, so now the next one. Now, I'm not going to bore you with this one. It's very, I don't want to get too technical about it, but we talk about note-taking. Now, a lot of students, there's two issues here. Some students are not taking notes at all. Don't take notes. Two, those that might be taking notes, they might be writing way too much information and try to write down everything they hear, everything they see. Yes, ma'am? 100%. And we discussed that. You're absolutely right. Part of the problem is when certain teachers might be talking too fast, the child is trying to like capture everything you're saying, and that's not effective note-taking. That's transcribing. So we talk about that. We have a workshop dedicated, which is actually Saturday's workshop. Saturday's workshop is going to discuss close reading, going into, like you said, making sure that you're actually reading, not just like opening the book, and then from there, extracting how to be able to take effective notes. So we discussed that, right? I just want to show you a couple of the structures. Whenever this, okay. So part of the problem, this is actually like a notebook. This is way too much information. So the goal, what we've identified is that top performing students tend to write 80% less of information. How? So they start utilizing trigger words. So like you're saying, ma'am, instead of trying to write, as they're speaking too fast, the goal of the student is to start identifying key words. Those words that are going to remind me of much more information, right? So instead of having to write all of this in my notebook, I'm actually identifying what I really need. Like when I was younger, this is actually a true story. When I was younger, I had my high school here. There was like a corner store on my way home. I'd walk home. I wasn't too far away. On occasion, my mother would be like, hey, on the way back home, can you buy eggs or something like that? Now, I mean, I know many of you can attest that when there's before cell phones, like now you can be like, hey, Siri, remind me to buy eggs. But like, anybody ever write notes on their hands? Yep. Right? So now my thing is, though, if I had to remember to buy eggs, I don't have to go. I have to go to the corner store to go buy eggs after school. Like, all I have to write is the word. And that's it. That triggers it. So that's the whole goal. We introduced that skill to how to start identifying text, how to start a slide or what the teacher is saying, and just start pulling out keywords, trigger words, and formatting your notes in a much more effective, clean, structured way. Because when I ask a lot of students, like, hey, who already has a structured approach to taking notes? Not many. Not many. And that's the goal, right? So now another skill that we talk about is like the usage of color inside of their notes. Obviously, we use color all over, like red, stop, green, go, yellow, drive faster. We use that already, right? So why not start incorporating that into our note-taking process? So I just want to show you what that might look like. This is two solutions that we discussed. Very briefly, I'll touch on them. This is called the split page, where you have the main heading up top. In this case, it talks about the themes of the Odyssey. But you have the main heading. You have the split page, hence the name, right? Where you're focusing the writing on the left and on the right, actually. So you'll have the subheadings you're pulling out. And then you're identifying that with some trigger words, keywords, key phrases, vocabulary words, something really important, right? And then on the right-hand side, I know it's crazy, but some colors and pictures. What? Well, think about it. We process a lot in pictures and images. Everything, if I'm telling you a series of words, numbers, and images, what will stick with you are those images in your head. So that's why we say on occasion, like here, we even use phonetic cues like Telemachus. Oh, I drew a television to remember that. It's another form of engagement that the child is really involved in that process. But now, here's my personal favorite I want to discuss is with Cornell, which they'll, again, well, some students might already be familiar with the Cornell notes-taking process. So our job is to help reinforce that. So solution number 2 is called the Cornell method. And this is the habit that the goal is to have the students do. Just set up those lines. Now, I know it seems like maybe remedial, like elementary. No. Right here, you're setting yourself up because at the top, you want to start including the title. Top left, the date, just for organizational purposes. Now, we call it the 3 R's, where in the center, you're recording information. While you're in class, you're jotting info down, pulling out some info, writing some things, right? So you're jotting that down. Then on the right-hand side, maybe you're drawing some images that help connect with that. Now, on occasion, this might be too much. So your goal is to identify those key words. What I really need to know out of it, go back to there and identify, okay, I got to pull this out of that. So that's the first R of record. So on the left, what we do is reduce. We reduce that information, maybe a subtitle. I could create my own subtitles, my own subheadings, then support that with some trigger words. And the final one is that of review or a recap, a nice brief summary. So they learn that skill. Now, in the classroom, they really focus here. And then their goal as a student is to, as they're reviewing that, going through that material, is to reduce it and to review that information. I know I went through that quickly, but trust me when I tell you, we're going to be spending about a good 4 hours in depth going through it. It's very engaging. I know it seems like a lot, 4 hours. And as you can tell, I might be already an animated presenter. I'm not a boring presenter with the students. Guarantee you they're going to come back and loving it. So that's the note-taking process. So that's just, again, one of the few skills. We have another one on memory, which is the third Saturday, all about different techniques of memorization. Understanding, it's not all about memorization. You have to learn how to apply it. You have to know how to analyze it, elaborate, and all that good stuff. But hey, sometimes one of the most key things is just memorizing things, having to know a certain word, what it looks like, what that means. So we have a specific skill on that. And then the last workshop is all about exam preparation. What can I start doing to really prepare myself, leading to my finals, leading to my exams? So, any questions? You want me to? I could, absolutely. All right. So,
We had to do it yesterday.
So I'm doing it right now. Ready? So it's a point to show what ends up happening when students write so much information, they try to process too much. And I like seeing this. That's kind of funny. So if you don't mind, just take your 2 index fingers. Now the goal is take your left hand. Let's go and try to rotate it one way. As you're attempting to rotate the other one, the opposite direction. Okay, I see a few of us not doing it, in fact. Yeah, so that's the goal, right? So it's like the whole rub the tummy and that one. So same process applies. We try to process too much information. Yeah, I know. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Across the whole school. How does this, they're taking it this way, affect when they're getting their notebooks graded? Like the teachers are aware of them taking the class?
The teachers went through a workshop yesterday. This is not so different, and he didn't mention Hockman a million times, but yesterday the presenters that were here with the staff mentioned Hockman a million times because our kids are ready. They know trigger words because they underline with pen or pencil when they're annotating things. They're ready to take notes with
Symbols.
Symbols and keywords and phrases. They're already doing this, and they're already organizing everything into outlines. So this is just another step in that direction.
Absolutely.
And our teachers were thrilled that this is a way that they can use the symbols, they can use the abbreviations to condense their notes in a very systematic way. So if you see all of the reviews that the staff wrote yesterday on the review sheet, we're very happy.
Awesome. Yeah, it goes in line. It's hand in hand. May I move on? All right, so those are the workshops, right? So again, the next few Saturdays will be coming in. I'm coming in. I'm one of the first ones really excited to work. Now, I want to talk about distractions because I know not only as students, but as adults, we tend to be very distracted. Now, one of the things, ma'am, you refer to the music. Now, when I ask students, right, as a matter of fact, sir, are you a student? And I see you have headphones on, which means you're listening to music. May I ask who do you listen to just randomly? Okay. Yeah, wait, for real? I respect that. No, that's amazing. Okay. All right. You know what? Barry Manilow. Okay. Sir, you're also a student. You're a freshman, I believe. You listen to music sometimes? An artist. Drake. Okay. Barry Manilow and Drake, right? Amazing. Okay. Awesome, right? But the deal is, right, they're lyricists. They use their lyrics. They use their words. Now, part of the problem is I talk about this all the time. I ask a student, I'm like, hey, think about this. If you're listening to Drake, right, his new song, God's Plan, you got it bumping, boom, boom, boom. But now you're reading something. You're listening to words while you're reading words. And then all of a sudden, or maybe you have to write something. All of a sudden, you might end up writing a lyric to the word mistake. So the goal is not to do that, right? Now, there's a time and place, right? Finding that balance. Listening to music with lyrics specifically is not the most effective for a child's productivity when it comes to studying. Something like this is a study app, though. There's an app you can download, study app. Now this music, it doesn't have lyrics. In fact, sometimes it has little sounds and weird things, but they align with the waves of the brain actually increase productivity as they're studying. In fact, you can download this app, but you can also go on YouTube and literally type in study music, and there's music. There's tons of playlists there. Again, you're going to find it. Won't have lyrics attached to it. And there's not specific, like, it's not an instrumental. It's not an instrumental to Drake's song. Because all of a sudden you're listening to an instrumental and now you're trying to rap along. Something like that, right? So, again, that's something that we really encourage for those students that feel like they need music. The goal is just help them understand. And we discussed this as well. But as a parent, just having that conversation with them. Look, it's great that you're listening to Drake. Cool. But right now, when it comes to studying, it's not the most effective. It's going to hurt you instead. So, another distraction, obviously, are cell phones. Not only just as students, but has it ever happened where you're walking and you think your cell phone goes off, it's vibrating, and you look and it actually wasn't? Has that ever happened? Happens all the time. So imagine, though, when it actually does vibrate. If it distracts you right then and there when it's not vibrating, imagine when it is, when it's going off. So the goal is not having that cell phone around. Especially because sometimes when they're doing homework, maybe that's okay. We're talking about studying for like an exam, for a big test or something like that. You don't want to have that extra distraction. If they have to read some content, right? The process. If you have your phone in front of you, they're going to start reading, go to the cell phone. Reading, go to their cell phone. What might take them 30 minutes ends up taking 2 hours. So again, the goal is having these conversations. Make sure that, students can like self-regulate themselves. Like, you know what? During this time, now I always encourage to say, look, put your phone on silent. 30 minutes of deliberate study. Take a little 10-minute break. Go another 30 minutes on. I know that's hard. I know. But if you can have some control, I tell certain parents, like, hey, look, at the end of the day, you might be paying the bill for that phone. So, hey, I know certain parents, like, I'm not telling you what to do specifically, but I know parents sometimes turn off the Wi-Fi. That's one thing. I know parents have to check in their phone at a certain time. So, again, I'm not telling you how to do your job as a parent, but these are just things. Start really trying to encourage and promoting the habit of making sure that your child does it. It's all about habits, really. Making sure, because maybe right now in the 9th grade, they might be having that 96. I don't know what grade they're in. But, hey, guess what? When they go to college, maybe it's just creating a new habit now, so you're setting yourself up for success in the future. You all with me on that? Can we agree? Awesome. Yep. So here's another distraction. Now, I'll see this all the time. I ask a student, hey, what do you normally study? I'll study in bed. Oh, I'll read on my couch. Cool. Now, but I think about that, though. Like, your body's naturally saying, like, oh, I know this position. This is quite comfortable. And you're going to drift away. You're starting to read. Maybe you fade away, go back to the reading. Takes you, again, what could take you 30 minutes, you end up taking 2 hours. So the goal is to make sure you're sitting at a desk or a table. I never had a desk growing up, but I did have a dining table that my dad made sure I was sitting at. But the second thing is, if they're going to be sitting at a table or a desk, you also want to make sure that those distractions on the table or desk are removed. Because last thing that happens, they got a water bottle. They start doing the water bottle challenge. They see a stapler. They start stapling everything, their eyelids, all that stuff. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But at the end of the day, they really are distracted. So you want to make sure, yes, sit at a desk or a table, but also please ensure that that table is nice and clean and doesn't have all these extra distractions. Next, the TV, screens, tablets. Unless they're using it for studying purposes, you don't want to necessarily have that on. Your brain starts actually entering a lower energetic state when it has a TV, a screen in front of them. Think about it. How many times have you watched a whole season of Netflix, start drooling out your mouth or something at the end of the day? So that's what you don't want when it comes specifically to like studying. If you really think about it, like, and I tell the students all the time, like, listen, look what you're doing. You're watching a show. You're doing your homework. You're studying. You're not giving the episode the attention it deserves because you might have missed something really important. And you're not giving your notes. You're not giving your work the attention it deserves. So it's being able to find that balance and finding a time, like you said, to make sure we're having that balance. And finally, sleep and focus. Now, one of the things that actually bothers me the most is when I'm in the presentation with the students, with the workshop, really engaged, having some fun, and there's like a child in the back falling asleep. That's not because I'm boring. Maybe I know there's some other factors. Maybe they haven't been eating or whatever that is. I understand that. But a lot of times it's because they're not sleeping. A lot of students say when we do the time management workshop thing, some students the other day asked me, and this is a 7th grader asked, we did like a specific one for them, like, hey, Mr. T, why is there no 2 a.m.? I say, hey, young man, why do you need a 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night? He said, oh, I'm on Snapchat and Instagram at that time. Now, that's one of the problems, right? That I know technology, I'm all for technology, but that could be a detriment, especially late at night. So they're sleeping under the covers. They're going off on their phones, things like that. But it's just to make sure the children are getting a good 8 hours of sleep. There's a direct connection between sleep and focus. I mean, even us as adults, imagine if you're not sleeping well, then you're expected to function high level at work. So imagine a student that's expected to be on it in class and engaged. What's that doing to them? And finally, we say like study periods cap 50 minutes, and that's most. I know I come from a very conservative Caribbean home where my dad didn't matter if I had homework or not. You were sitting at the table for 2 hours. That was his thing. He was like, I don't care. You don't have homework. You're still sitting at that table. Read something. But that's not very healthy either. Going straight through, trying to force your kid to make sure, hours straight through. Make sure they're having those breaks too. Because you never want studying or reading or whatever to be a form of punishment. Now all of a sudden, now they start kind of connecting that. That's a negative correlation between like study and all of that. So at the end of the day, again, it's all about real balance. So as you can see throughout the next Saturdays, we're going to be working specifically with the 9th and 10th graders. But I hope maybe you got something out of this today. And because a lot of this is really backed up by research and by science. All of our workshops, like we're not just going to come in and make things up. And a lot of this you might know and you might be doing. So amazing. Congratulations, and keep doing that. Our goal is to just help reinforce these skills, hopefully turn them into habits for our students. I look forward, right now, 9th and 10th grade, but hopefully in the future, maybe we'll work with more classrooms. So yeah, if you know your child is being a part of this, by all means, ask them afterwards, follow up with them. Hey, what'd you think? What did you learn? So with that, I want to thank you. I want to say I love presenting to parents just because you're here today and it just shows me you have that buy-in and like you really care about your child's education, and I love seeing that. So thank you so much. Again, thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Very appreciated. I did forget to mention one thing. We do have the penny auction this Friday evening. And so the PTA does work in the kitchen for a little bit. So if anyone would like to volunteer and help us out, we would very much appreciate it. So can I have a motion? First of all, any questions? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Okay, and a second? Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good week.
Thank you.